hours to 0940, 8 hours to wait for the arrival of the Republican President to address Parliament. His Excellency Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, President of the Republic of Zambia, addressed the House on the progress made in the application of national values and principles. The House adjourned at 11:16 hours. So basically that's a business that was considered on the floor of the House. Let's quickly look at what is expected to be considered on the floor of the House today.
The House is expected to consider one question for oral answer under Standing Order number 74, 6 questions for oral answer under Standing Order number 74, and there will be a motion that His Excellency the President's address, that the thanks of the Assembly be recorded for the exposition of public policy contained in His Excellency the President's address.
So let's also just excite you to some details of the questions that are expected to be considered on the floor of the House as we await the arrival of the presiding officer. We do have one question under 76, Standing Order 76. This is a question of urgent nature, and it will come from Lunte, Member of Parliament, Mr. Kafuaya, directing his question to the Minister of Technology and Science. The member would like to find out what the cause of the temporary shutdown of Facebook, a social media platform, on Tuesday, 5th March 2024 countrywide was, what the revenue impact the shutdown had on business owners operating on the platform.
Question 313, understanding order number 74, will come from Chikankata lawmaker Ms. Sibao to ask the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development why the construction of Chieftainess Mwenda's Palace in Chikankata district has stalled, when the project will resume, and what the estimated cost of the project is.
Question 314 will come from Mr. Daka Chadiza, Member of Parliament, directing his question to the Minister of Mines and Minerals Development. The member would like to find out whether the government is aware that there has been illegal gold mining in Kumba Ward in Chadiza parliamentary constituency that has led to lawlessness in the area. If so, what measures are being taken to ensure legal mining restoration of law and order?
We also expect Mr. Miutu of Kalabo constituency to ask the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development a question in 3 parts: when the government to commence rehabilitation of feeder roads in Kalabo district, what the cause of the delay in commencing the project is, and when the works will be completed.
Question 317 will come from Mr. Malambo Magoye, Member of Parliament, directing this question to the Minister of Fisheries and Livestock. As you can see on your screen, that's the Honourable Madam Speaker making her way to the chamber, and Claudette and I will be on hand to be your last comment.
Honourable Members of Parliament, Madam Speaker.
Speaker.
Tendency of Zambia, proud and free, land of wealth and joy in unity, victors in the struggle for our rights. We want freedom's fight, oh, one, strong and free. Africa is our own motherland, fashioned with and blessed by those who blend. Let us all our people join as one, brothers under the sun. Oh, one, strong and free. One land and one nation is our cry. Dignity and peace in Zambia's sky, like a noble eagle in its flight. Zambia, praise to thee, oh, one, strong and free. Praise be to Christy, bless our great Zambia, green and we stand under the flag of our land. Zambia, praise to thee, O one, strong and free.
Prayer. Almighty God, who in your infinite wisdom and providential goodness has appointed the offices of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to consider with your abundant favor us, your servants, whom you have been pleased to call to the performance of such important responsibilities in this land. Let your blessing descend upon us here in Parliament assembled, and grant that we may, as in your presence, treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interest you have committed to our charge. Amen. Order, honorable members. Order. I have a ruling to render on the complaint by Mr. C. Andeleki, Member of Parliament for Katombola constituency, against Mr. J. E. Banda. Order. Order. Against Mr. J. E. Banda, Member of Parliament for Petauke Central constituency, for stating that he was suspended from the National Assembly so that the standing orders could be changed and money could be stolen in a video footage that had been widely circulated on social media and other media platforms. In line with our practice and procedure, a member against whom a complaint is raised is required to be present in the House when the ruling is delivered. I had seen him, but he has walked away. In that regard, Mr. J. E. Banda MP was contacted by the office of the clerk to inform him to be present in the House today, Tuesday, 19th March 2024. However, Mr. J. E. Banda MP has moved out of the House. I will nonetheless proceed to render the ruling. Honorable members, I wish to inform the House that on Thursday, 30th November 2023, my office received a letter of complaint from Mr. C. Andeleki, Member of Parliament for Katombola constituency, against Mr. J. E. Banda MP. I've seen the honorable member. I order you, Mr. J. E. Banda, Member of Parliament for Petauke Central constituency, to go and stand behind the bar of the House. I also instruct the Sergeant at Arms to take the Speaker's mess and go and stand behind the member. Order, honorable members, order. We have to make progress. The honorable member for Petauke Central, please proceed to the... The honorable member for Petauke Central, please go and stand behind the bar. Order, honorable member. Sergeant at arms, can you please remove the honorable member of parliament out of the house? The sergeant at arms, please remove the honorable member. The sergeant at arms, let the member move out of the house. The honorable member, please. Hello, honorable members. We suspend business for 10 minutes. We suspend business for 10 minutes.
My eParliament mobile application. First, download the app on either Play Store or App Store and install. After installation, open the app. Step 1. Register your personal information, that's your names, gender, NRC and date of birth. Step 2. Add your contact information, your email, phone number and home address. Step 3. Select your constituency. Step 4. Create your 4-digit PIN. At this point, the system will send an SMS to your mobile number with a one-time passcode. Step 5. Confirm with one-time passcode that was sent to your mobile. Step 6. Sign in using your phone number and the 4-digit PIN. And Step 7. Create your submission and submit. My eParliament, bringing Parliament closer to you.
Can be seated. Order, honorable members, we have to continue with our business. So I'll start from the beginning. The honorable member is not in the house after that commotion, but we have to continue. The people of Zambia, they are waiting to hear the proceedings of Parliament. So, honorable members, I have a ruling to render against Mr. J.E. Banda, Member of Parliament for Petauke Central constituency. In line with our practice and procedure, a member against whom a complaint is raised is required to be present in the House when the ruling is delivered. In that regard, Mr. J.E. Banda MP was contacted by the Office of the Clerk to inform him to be present in the House today, Tuesday, 19th March 2024. However, we also what happened? He's not in the House. Honorable members, I wish to inform the House that on Thursday, 30th November 2023, my office received a letter of complaint from Mr. C. Andeleki, Member of Parliament for Katombola constituency, against Mr. J.E. Banda, MP. In his complaint, Mr. C. Andeleki, MP, alleged that Mr. J.E. Banda, MP, made defamatory utterances in vernacular in a video footage circulated on social media and other media platforms. Mr. C. Andeleki, MP, stated that Mr. J.E. Banda, MP, in the video footage, made the following statement. We are chased from Parliament to enable the misappropriate funds. Additionally, they altered the standing orders. What will our children find? Additionally, Mr. C. Andeleki, MP, alleged that Mr. J.E. Banda, MP's statement brought the reputation and dignity of the National Assembly into disrepute. He therefore inquired whether Mr. J.E. Banda, MP's conduct did not violate Standing Orders 202, number 1, 2 and 3, 203, number 1 and 2, and 207, number 1, 2A and 3 of the National Assembly of Zambia Standing Orders for 2021. Honorable members, in line with parliamentary practice and procedure, and in accordance with the rules of natural justice, on 3rd January 2024, the Office of the Clerk officially wrote to Mr. J.E. Banda, MP, requesting him to state his side of the story on the matter. In response, Mr. J.E. Banda, MP, stated that he had not been availed the footage or link to the said footage for him to appreciate the nature of the complaint and respond effectively. Therefore, the Office of the Clerk availed Mr. J.E. Banda, MP, the video footage via his email and cell phone number using a digital platform called WeTransfer. However, despite sending the video footage to Mr. J.E. Banda, MP, he neglected or refused to respond to the letters sent to him. Honorable members, the complaint by Mr. C. Andeleki, MP, raises the issue of member making a speech reflecting negatively on the House or its members. Section 19E of the National Assembly Powers and Privileges Act, Chapter 12 of the Laws of Zambia, criminalizes acts of intentional disrespect to or concerning the proceedings of the Assembly. It states as follows: 19. Any person shall be guilty of an offense who commits any other act of intentional disrespect to or with reference to the proceedings of the Assembly or of a committee of the Assembly or to any person presiding at such proceedings. Additionally, the National Assembly of Zambia Standing Orders for 2021 regulates the proceedings of the House. In this regard, Standing Order 2071 2A and B provides as follows. 2071, contempt of the House refers to an act, omission, or conduct which obstructs, impedes either the House or members or officer in the discharge of their duties. Number 2, in addition to instances under Section 19 of the National Assembly Powers and Privileges Act, the following may constitute contempt of the House. A, speech or writing reflecting negatively on the House or members. 3, any person who commits contempt of the House shall be dealt with in accordance with the provisions of the National Assembly Powers and Privileges Act. Further, eminent writers on parliamentary practice and procedure, S.L. Shakite and M.N. Cow, in their book entitled Practice and Procedure of Parliament, 7th edition, New Delhi, Lok Sabha of 2016, state as follows at page 304. It is a breach of privilege and contempt of the House to make speeches or to print or publish any libels reflecting on the character or proceedings of the House or its committees or any member of the House, or relating to his character or conduct as a member of Parliament. Speeches and writings reflecting on the House or its committees or members are punished by the House as contempt on the principle that such acts tend to obstruct the Houses in the performance of their functions by diminishing the respect due to them. In order to constitute a breach of privilege, however, libels upon a member of Parliament must concern his character or conduct in his capacity as a member of the House and must be based on matters arising in the actual transaction of the business of the House. The S2 Speaker, Right Honorable Justice Patrick Madibin, State Counsel, had occasion to rule on a similar matter in the case of Honorable S. Kampyongo, MP, Minister of Home Affairs, as he was then, versus Mr. Simwetwa, Member of Parliament for Choma Central Constituency, that was in the daily parliamentary debate of 8th April 2021. In that matter, Mr. Simwetwa MP appeared on Prime Television on a program called Oxygen and Democracy to discuss the topic Rule of Law Part 2. In his discussion, Mr. Simwetwa MP uttered statements which reflected on the office of the Speaker and negatively misrepresented the proceedings of the House. Consequently, the Committee on Privileges and Absences and Support Services, as it was then, found that the statement by Mr. Simwetwa MP reflected on the character and impartiality of the Speaker and amounted to intentional disrespect to or with reference to proceedings of the Assembly. Therefore, Mr. Simwetwa MP had acted contrary to the provisions of Section 19E of the National Assembly Powers and Privileges Act and was in that regard in breach of parliamentary privilege and in contempt of the House. Honorable members, on the recommendation of the committee, Mr. Simwetwa MP was suspended for 30 days in line with section number 28(2) of the National Assembly Powers and Privileges Act. From the foregoing authorities, it is clear that it is a breach of parliamentary privilege and contempt of the House for a member to make a speech reflecting negatively on the House or its members. Honorable members, the matter was referred to the Committee on Privileges and Absences for determination. The Committee on Privileges and Absences met and deliberated on the matter on Wednesday, 6th March 2024. Both the complainant and respondent appeared before the committee and stated their side of the story. Mr. C. Andeleki MP relied on his written complaint and further confirmed that the video footage was indeed the subject of his complaint. In response, Mr. J. E. Banda MP confirmed that the video footage was correctly attributed to him. He stated that before recording the video, he had discussed the need to amend the National Assembly of Zambia Standing Orders to downscale members' emoluments with Mr. C. Andeleki MP. He explained that they had discussed the issue of the excess funds being allocated to other sectors of the economy as a means of tackling the economic challenges the country was facing. He concluded his submission by stating that he recorded the video to point out the aforementioned issues. Honorable members, in considering the matter, the committee had recourse to the relevant video footage and the oral submissions by both parties. The committee found that Mr. J. E. Banda, MP's statement on Facebook was in breach of parliamentary privilege and contempt of the House. Honorable members, the committee deliberated on the appropriate punishment to mete out to Mr. J. E. Banda MP. In its deliberations, the committee took into consideration the following issues. Number one, Mr. J. E. Banda MP confirmed that the video footage was correctly attributed to him. Two, that although the words complained of were not in the exact order they were stated in the complaint, they were indeed uttered by Mr. J. E. Banda, MP, and that there was overwhelming evidence to prove the allegations against Mr. J. E. Banda, MP. And Mr. J. E. Banda, MP's conduct was befitting of a member and brought the House into disrepute. And that Mr. J. E. Banda, MP was not remorseful. He had wasted the committee's time and was a repeat offender. And lastly, that the contempt committed by Mr. J. E. Banda, MP was of a serious nature. Honorable members, after due consideration of the above facts, the committee resolved to recommend that Mr. J. E. Banda, MP be suspended from the National Assembly for 30 days in accordance with Section 28(2) of the National Assembly Powers and Privileges Act, which requires a resolution of the House to suspend a member from the House. I fully endorse the committee's recommendation. Therefore, in line with the recommendation of the Committee on Privileges and Absences, and in accordance with Section 28(2) of the National Assembly Powers and Privileges Act, I now put the question. The question is that the House accordingly suspends Mr. J.E. Banda, MP, for a period of 30 days. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. All the contrary say no. I'll repeat the question. The question is that the House accordingly suspends Mr. E.G. Banda, MP, for a period of 30 days. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. All the contrary say no. I think the ayes have it. How many are there? There's a division. Okay. Order. There's a division. We are going to vote. A division is called. Ring the bells. You tell me after 4 minutes. Yes, please. Okay.
For still being with us on Parliament television, bells are ringing, which means that the division has been called when the Madam Speaker put the question and the resolution of the House to suspend the Member of Parliament for Petauke, and this is Mr. Emmanuel J. Banda, for 30 days. And when the question was put, the division was called. So the House will be voting electronically after 4 minutes of the bell.
Right, so these are live pictures right here in the chamber as members of parliament will be voting electronically in the next in a few minutes. This is in line with the ruling that Madam First Deputy Speaker actually did deliver. The question was put to suspend the Petauke Central Member of Parliament, Mr.
Emmanuel J. Banda, for 30 days, and after the question was called, division was called, so the House will vote electronically. Let's also, Claudette, look at what else is expected to be considered on the floor of the House. We do have a motion, thanks His Excellency the President's address, that the thanks of this Assembly be recorded for the exposition of public policy contained in His Excellency the President's address. We did see last week on Friday the Republican President addressing Parliament, updating Parliament and the nation on the progress made in the application of national values and principles.
And so to that effect, we'll see members of Parliament actually debating this particular motion, that the thanks of this Assembly be recorded for the exposition of public policy contained in His Excellency the President's address, and this debate will take place for a period of 10 days. The House is also expected to consider one question for oral answer, understanding order number 76, and 6 questions for oral answer, understanding order number 74.
So expect Chama South Member of Parliament, Mr. Davison Mungandu, to move the motion, and after move the motion, we'll have the seconder, and members of Parliament will be given an opportunity to debate, like what my colleague mentioned, for 10 days before the motion is adopted. So other questions that we do have, we have question 318, which will come from Mr. Chewe Lubansenshi, Member of Parliament, and this one will be directed to the Minister of Transport and Logistics. The member wants to find out how many goods and passenger trains the Zambia Railways Limited procured between 2011 and 2021, what the cost of each train was, how much money was generated from the operations of the trains during the period above, whether the government has any plans to procure additional locomotive trains, including electric trains, and if so, when the plans will be implemented. And the F part of the question, the member wants to find out how many people were employed during the period between 2011 and 2021.
And so, understanding order number 76, we only have one question, and this will come from Mr. Kafwaya of Lunte constituency. He will ask the Minister of Technology and Science what the cause of the temporary shutdown of Facebook, a social media platform, on Tuesday, 5th March 2024 countrywide was, what the revenue impact the shutdown had on business owners operating on the platform, and what measures are being taken to safeguard trade in the event of a recurrence.
Question 316 will come from Kapocha Member of Parliament, Mr. El Lungu, and this question is directed to the Minister of Energy. The member wants to find out when the government will electrify the following schools in Kapocha Parliamentary constituency: Kondwelani Primary, Chikalaba Primary and Junior Secondary, Chataika Primary, Chimpundu Primary, Matambiza Primary, Kapungwede Secondary School, Mtandaza Secondary School, Ntema Primary, Nchembwe Primary, and if so, when the plans will be implemented.
And so, in case you've just tuned in, the members of Parliament are just about to vote electronically. This is in line with a ruling that was rendered by the First Deputy Speaker a short while ago, suspending the Petauke lawmaker, Mr. Inobanda, for a period of 30 days. So a division was called when the question was put, and so we do expect a member.
Close the bar, clear the lobbies and lock the doors. The House will vote electronically using the Bosch multimedia units only. Please log in the system. Are we logged in? When you hear the paging sound, the vote has opened and the voting screen is displayed on your microphone unit. Select the present key. On top of the right side of the screen, you will see the words, please cast your vote. Select one of the options, yes, no, or abstain. Once you have selected one of the options, you will see the words, vote has been cast on the right side of the screen. When you hear the second paging sound, the vote will close after 1 minute. You have just voted. Mr. Kawimbe? Order. The results as follows. The ayes 71, the noes 30, abstain 1. The ayes have it. Order. Honorable members, although Mr. J.E. Banda MP is not present in the House, I'll proceed to address him in absentia. I have to inform you, Mr. J.E. Banda MP, that the House is extremely displeased with your utterances on Facebook page, which was viewed by the general public and the world at large. Your utterances, which were unproven, reflected negatively on the House or its members. This conduct was not only disrespectful, but also brought the House into disrepute. Mr. J.E. Banda MP, as the former independent whip, you are aware or ought to be aware that the House has rules and procedures which ought to be followed. Such conduct falls below the expected conduct of an honorable member. You, as an honorable member of this august House, ought to know that your behavior and conduct, both inside and outside the House, ought to be exemplary at all times, and in all circumstances, so as to enhance the dignity of the House. Further, I wish to inform Mr. J.E. Banda that in accordance with Section 28(3) of the National Assembly Powers and Privileges Act, during the period of your suspension, you shall not, 1, enter the precincts of the Assembly, and this extends to the National Assembly Motel, 2, participate in an activity of the Assembly or any committee that you are assigned to in your capacity as Member of Parliament, and you shall not be paid the salary or allowance you are entitled to as a member, and I hope this will be the last time such undesirable conduct will be exhibited by yourself as a member of this House. I thank you. We make progress. Matters of urgent public importance. The Honorable Member for Lunte.
Madam Speaker, I wish to raise a matter of urgent public importance and direct it to the Honorable Minister of Finance and National Development. Madam Speaker, on Thursday, 29th of February 2024, the President declared the current prolonged drought situation as a national disaster and emergency. As recently as yesterday, the President reiterated the importance of his declaration by appearing on international media, begging what he termed as partners to support Zambia in terms of ensuring that no Zambian dies as a result of hunger or starvation. Madam Speaker, as the President made his declaration, he informed the nation that his government, the UPND government, was going to realign the 2024 budget in order to have an appropriate response to this declaration. Madam Speaker, the President has shown seriousness in terms of believing that this is a disaster. The Ministry of Finance has not budged to come and inform this House when the government is going to realign the budget so that appropriate responses can begin to take effect. Madam Speaker, is the Honorable Minister of Finance in order to take 20 days after the declaration of a disaster, failing to inform the nation whether he's going to abide by the presidential directive of realigning the budget. Madam Speaker, I am being urged to put a question. Madam Speaker, I seek your serious and further direction on this important matter. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you. I don't know whether the Honorable Minister of Finance want to come in now. The Honorable Minister of Finance.
I thank you, Madam Speaker, and I thank the Honourable Member for Lunte for raising that important issue. The country is indeed facing a serious drought, very serious, and once it became evident that this was the case, the head of state declared what he did. Madam Speaker, the Treasury has not been sitting idly. In the aftermath of the declaration by the President, in one of the statements that I made on this floor, I said we'll come back to the House with the proposals to rearrange the budget that we passed last year to reflect the need to address the drought. Madam Speaker, since that time, there's been a number of consultations within the government circles. Even this past weekend, we were in a long meeting in the office of the Vice President the whole Saturday. Madam Speaker, a budget cannot just be adjusted on the basis of uninformed positions. A lot of consultations have to be made. Issues of where is the food deficit, which district, which constituency, the power shortages, and many other things. All these require careful analysis so that by the time we come here to make proposals on adjusting the budget, we are very clear on the interventions that will be carried out. Yeah. In the absence of that, it will mean coming to this House and then, yes, as the Honourable Member says, in a chipante fashion, which means without proper consideration, you just move numbers around. It's not done like that. Madam Speaker, it's not done like that. It must be done carefully, considering very carefully which interventions you are going to make. Then the numbers will follow the plans that have been laid. So we will follow the Constitution. We will come to the House to make proposals on the adjustments. So, Honourable Member, thank you for your consideration. But this is a matter that is 100% under control. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. Honourable members, we've heard that the Honourable Minister will come back to this House to give a comprehensive report on the same. So I don't know whether there is need for follow-up questions since the Honourable Minister says he'll come back. I think it's straightforward and very clear. The Honourable Member for Lunte, you want to get more information about the matter, or what is the question?
On his statement. Just on the statement he has tendered.
In fact, it's not even a statement because he just responded to say he will come back.
Yes, so now it's a follow-up on what he has said. Yes, this procedural, you can't argue.
Order, honorable members, order.
You can't argue.
Order, honorable member Volunte. I'll just allow you, since you are the originator of the matter, but be advised that you don't go into the content which we don't know, because the honorable minister said he will come back. What is your question?
Madam Speaker, thank you so much. And indeed, that's how it should be. The Honorable Minister, in his ministerial statement following my matter of urgent public importance, he has stated that right now there are serious consultations in the government system. My question to you, Honorable Minister, why has your government allowed the President to start begging before you do the analysis? Which analysis will inform the extent of the problem and therefore inform the government system in terms of what is needed and therefore direct the quantums in terms of begging? Why have you allowed the President to start begging before information is put together? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The honorable member, I think the word begging is too strong. Is it possible you find another better word instead of using that word?
Madam Speaker, since the UPND government is uncomfortable with what they are doing, which is begging, I will rephrase.
No, it's me
Madam
who
Speaker.
is uncomfortable, honorable member. It's me, actually.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, let me ask it this way. The UPND government is still making consultations. They're still making consultations to make determinations in terms of what ought to be done by mobilizing food to avert people dying with hunger, mobilizing electricity from wherever so that people can still produce, mobilizing all these things. Madam Speaker, why has this government of UPND caused the President to go about requesting when they don't know the quantums of what ought to be requested from what they are calling partners, even when these people are actually not partners? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Though I still remain that the minister will come back to give us a very comprehensive report. However, if the minister has got something to say, we are going to move to the next matter. Do you have something to say, Honorable Minister?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we must be very grateful that we have a president who cares for his people. Not governments that did not care for their people. I remember, Madam Speaker, those of us who were in Parliament in the last session, there was serious hunger. What year was that? 2018, 2019. Members of Parliament kept on saying there's hunger. The ministers that we were reporting to kept on just laughing, Madam Speaker. They were laughing. Madam Speaker, some of them were saying, yes, the people in those areas where there's hunger, they did not vote properly. I think colleagues do remember about that. Now, the current president is a person who loves human beings. He loves human beings. So, rather than wait, is proactive, informing the outside communities about the calamities that is in Zambia. That's the way to go, so that they too can prepare themselves. You can't just expect to go to another country or another donor and say, give me money today. It will not happen that way. You have to engage into discussions. You have to inform people ahead of time. And this is what is happening, Madam Speaker. So, what is happening is perfect. the President is sending signals methodically. And as we speak right now, there are positive indications from a number of institutions. And the good thing is that when you have established yourself as a government that is honest, that cares for its people, the help will just be coming from everywhere. When you're a government where even social cash transfer gets stolen, even if you go and ask for assistance,
Minister,
you get nothing. Madam Speaker, thank you.
The Honorable Minister, please, the word stolen is unparliamentary. If you can withdraw and replace it.
I apologize, Madam Speaker. I'll replace stolen with embezzlement.
There was an indication for a point of order, the Honorable Member for Masaiti.
Speaker, my point of order is premised on 65(1)(b), factual information that the Honorable Minister is supposed to give to the House. Madam Speaker, I was Minister of Agriculture at that material period the Honorable Minister indicated. We went round to give food, distribute food through the office of the Vice President, Madam Inonge Wina, throughout the country, Madam Speaker. And no one died of hunger, Madam Speaker. We left in their custody 1.4 million metric tons of maize. With this government, which they fought now. Now, how can the minister now indicate on the floor of the House, Madam Speaker, that we were just laughing when people were languishing in starvation? Nobody complained of hunger, and you were here, you were a member of Parliament, Madam Speaker. How does the Honorable Minister indicate like that to the nation? Anyway, my last words to this government is that Zambians are human beings. They are watching. You know what you have to say. You have to say facts.
Honorable Member for Masaiti.
How can you laugh when people? Did anybody die of hunger?
Honorable Member for Masaiti. That has actually moved out from being a point of order into a debate. Honorable Member for Masaiti, when you are given an opportunity to raise a point of order, please be specific and follow the standing orders. Because the way you've done now, you've debated your point of order. We move now to the second matter of public importance. Honorable members, there is no way we are going to continue discussing the matter which will be brought to the House. It will be brought to the House as indicated by the Honorable Minister of Finance. So let's make progress. The Honorable Member for Pambashi, what is your matter of urgent public importance?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The matter is directed on our Honor, the Vice President. I was looking for Minister for Community Development. She is not here. Madam Speaker, yesterday in Pambashi constituency from Chimpiri Ward into Luwingu, we had the fatality where 2 people had collided on a motorcycle and one died instantly. Right now, as we are speaking, the other one is in Kasama General Hospital in a critical condition. Madam Speaker, paying of social cash transfer now is causing deaths among citizens. This is the 3rd one in Pambashi constituency. If you have not experienced it, give me a chance to explain if in your constituency you have not experienced it. Madam Speaker, Zambia has not yet gotten to the level where there is a network in all the areas. What the ministry is doing now, they are calling people from areas where there is no network to come to the center that is called the Boma. And the mode of transport, because of the cost of living, residents are using the motorcycle. This is the 3rd death I have recorded in Pambashi constituency in the last 2 months. Madam Speaker, if you've lost a child and then you are saying question, imagine...
The Honorable Member for Pambashi, you are addressing me. Can you please address me? We are behind time.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want our Honor the Vice President to give comfort to the people of Kawambo, the people of Pambashe, the people of Luwingu, whose network system is erratic, such that requesting them to move to the Boma for the correction of social caste transfer is causing them to lose beloved ones. What measures is government doing to enhance that which was left, to take the social caste transfer to where people are, so that we can avert people from dying? Your Honor, the Vice President is quite emotional. I bought 3 coffins in the last 30 days. I seek the direction of you, Madam Speaker, to see to it that the people who may not have access, this may not just be in Pambash, to telecommunication network, be saved better than the current situation that is causing them to lose their lives. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member for Pambashi. When raising matters of urgent public importance, please try to be focused on one matter. Because in your matter now, we heard about 3 issues: the issue of network, social cash transfer, and the debts. So for me, I would advise you to file in a question so that you are specific to the issues that you want responses from the Minister or Her Honor the Vice President. The last member, the Honorable Member for Lubasenshi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The correct pronunciation is the Lubansenshi constituency, and greetings from the people of Lubansenshi constituency.
Sorry for that.
Thank you. The public agency matter that I'm trying to bring to your attention is directed to the Minister of Agriculture, and since he's not in the House, I'll direct it to Our Honor the Vice President. Madam Speaker, as you may be wished to know that apparently Zambia is going through difficulties in terms of meal meal, and it's for that reason I would like to find out on behalf of the people of Rwansenshi and on behalf of the Zambian people to try and find out what steps the government is putting into consideration to ensure that this harvest season, government through RFA can able to, or FRA, sorry, Madam Speaker, Food Reserve Agency, so that this country can have enough maize grains, Madam Speaker. I'm bringing this matter to your attention, taking into consideration that already, as at Tuesday, last week, Madam Speaker, some farmers in Luapula province, part of Northern Province, we have some briefcase buyers who have gone to buy even fields, the whole field, Madam Speaker, now which is a threat for me to this country, because the time government through Food Reserve Agents are going to buy, you find that there will be no mess to talk about. My question and intervention from the government, what steps are they putting in place to ensure that we can able to buy maize without problems so that we can have reserve in this country? I submit, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Member is advised to file in a question. You can put in an urgent question since we are winding up on Thursday. We need to get a response before that. Thank you. There is an indication for a point of order. The Honorable Minister for Northern Province, what is your point of order?
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. My point of order is premised on Standing Orders 203 1 and 2. Madam Speaker, we are Zambians. And in Zambia, Zambians have entrusted us to come and represent them in this house. This is the house of the people. In this house, Madam Speaker, we have got people of varying ages. In this country, those who have been groomed in homes, no matter how close I am going to work with the Minister of Finance, he will never be my friend. He is my father. Therefore, here we have got the father figures. Then the people of Zambia have also entrusted us, the younger ones. Sit down. Sit down.
Order, honorable member, order. The honorable member for Lumezi, please take your seat. We have not been given the floor. The honorable minister for Northern Province, please don't assist me in my job by telling other members to sit down. Can you please be precise on your point of order?
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Don't debate the point of order.
Thank you. And sorry for the help. Madam Speaker, my point of order is directed to 2 or 3 young parliamentarians. The first one is the honorable member for Mandrima. And Madam Speaker, forgive me. Madam Speaker, forgive me. I am raising this point of order contemporaneously as I had no opportunity to rise on a point of order. This is the first opportunity that I have. Madam Speaker, when the head of state was here in this house, your honorable member for Mandrima stood here to tell someone who is even older than his father to say that you are lying. And as if that was not enough, when His Excellency went close to her to talk to her, she became violent, Madam Speaker, to the extent that she was just being... Madam Speaker, the second one.
The Honorable Minister...
May I be given an opportunity to finish?
The Honorable Minister, can you please summarize the point of order, because now it has turned to be a debate.
Thank you.
Just to summarize it so that I make a ruling.
Thank you very much. The second one is your honorable member for Kana.
The Honorable Minister, you are advised to raise 1 point of order at a time.
This one. But it's 3 people. This one. Thank you.
Order, Honorable Minister, for the sake of progress, I've heard the matter that you are trying to bring up, and this matter actually happened on last week on Friday. Is it possible that the Honorable Minister for Northern Province could come up with a written complaint so that that issue can be attended to? Because it happened last week on Friday, not today.
How I wish I can be given an opportunity to finish. When I finish, then you render a ruling. Let me finish. So
Order, Honorable Minister. We cannot continue with that matter. I know you've mentioned about one, but when we are raising a point of order, we are supposed to bring it out in a focused approach, now 3 portions to 1 point of order. It's a very important point of order. I've gotten the first part. That's why I said, Honorable Member, please can you write a comprehensive complaint over that matter, so that you bring in all the issues that you wanted to bring forward. I hope the Honorable Minister has heard me. Thank you. Where are we now? We make progress. Questions for oral answer understanding order number 76. The Honorable Member for Lunte.
Madam Speaker, freedom of expression is on the parliamentary order being slaughtered here. Madam Speaker, question number 312.
Before the minister comes in, there is an indication for a point of order. The Honorable Member for Lumezi, what is your point of order?
Madam Speaker, I thank you most sincerely for according me this rare privilege to raise a point of order pursuant to Standing Orders 207, to be precise, 207 2A and B. Madam Speaker, it has become a trend that this House is being contemptuous. Madam Speaker, complaints are one-sided and were reflecting negatively to the Zambian citizens. Madam Speaker, the Honorable Minister for Northern Province ought to have known that any matter that does not happen in this chamber has its own grounds of complaints. It cannot be a house as usual, Madam Speaker, where we automatically know that tomorrow the Speaker is suspending Jean. Tomorrow they're suspending J. Madam Speaker, I seek your serious ruling on this particular matter. 207, 1 and 2. I thank you.
The Honorable Member for Lumezi, I seem not to get you clearly, especially when you said the matters are one-sided. I've just come. I was hearing the matter from the Minister for Northern Province. The Minister for Northern Province didn't even finish his point of order, because I ruled and advised him what to do. I didn't hear any other points of order which made me to be one-sided. So, Honorable Member, I think you are out of order. Can you please maybe, if you've got something to say, if you've got a complaint, maybe put it in the right manner. Because what you've said, Honorable Member, I don't think that is the way it appeared. So, Honorable Member, I think we have to make progress. Find another way, come back to the House. The Honorable Minister of Technology and Science.
Madam Speaker, Mr. Kafwaya asked the Minister of Technology and Science a question in 3 parts. Part 1, what was the cause of the temporary shutdown of Facebook, a social media platform, on Tuesday, 5th March 2024, countrywide, was? In B, what the revenue impact of the shutdown had on businesses operating on the platform? And in C, what measures are being undertaken to safeguard trade in the event of a recurrence. Madam Speaker, I wish to inform the August House that in aim, Facebook and other social media platforms such as Messenger and Instagram experienced a temporary global shutdown on Tuesday, 5th March 2024. The shutdown did not only affect Zambia, but the rest of the world, and it lasted for a period of 2 to 3 hours. Millions of users of these social media platforms worldwide were unable to access them as they failed to log into their accounts. According to information obtained from Mata, the company that runs the 3 applications, the cause of the shutdown was as a result of a technical fault which was resolved the same day and the services restored. Following the restoration of services, Mata apologized to those who had been affected. In B, many businesses rely heavily on Facebook for their online marketing, advertising, content creation, and many more. A shutdown like the one that was experienced on 5th March obviously caused a disruption in their operations. However, it is difficult to determine the extent of the impact in terms of revenue. Number C, the government is enhancing an enabling environment to encourage innovators to come up with robust and resilient alternative home-grown solutions that will give members of the public alternative platforms or channels to reach their customers and audiences in order to generate revenue. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member for Lunte, maybe before you come in, there's a point of order. The Honorable Member for Luena, what is your point of order?
Madam Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity to raise this point of order. Madam Speaker, I reluctantly raise this point of order as it's not in my nature to be rising on points of order and disrupt the thought process, especially when there is a question and answer session going on. However, I'm compelled, under Standing Order 205, gross disorderly conduct. Madam Speaker, just at the start of this session, we witnessed the Honorable Member for Petauke Central defying the ruling and direction of you as a presiding officer, and also several other members who joined in making disruptive utterances against your direction. And to this effect, Madam Speaker, you had to suspend business for some minutes. An occurrence which is supposed to be such a rarity and that should only be occasioned when there is a calamity that is beyond the control of this House, not individual disorderly behavior. Is the Honorable Member for the good people of Petauke Central and the other members that joined him, in order to defy your reading and direction as a presiding officer, I really seek your serious ruling if order, dignity, and decorum is to be maintained in this House. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you so much. I'll reserve my ruling and come back after investigating the matter. You mentioned of other members as well, so a ruling will come later. We make progress. Honorable members, let's minimize on the points of order. We cannot take 2 points of order at a time. Let's please also be mindful of the issues on the order paper. We'll come to you, the Honorable Member for Pambashi. Let the Honorable Minister, was it the Honorable Minister who is supposed to respond? We've even lost track. The Honorable Member for Lunte, did you ask your supplementary question?
No, I was just
Please
about...
go ahead.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I don't know why you are not getting frustrated, because as you know, this session began in the second week of February, and the point of order you have sustained is talking about the start of the session. I think it's really embarrassing. Madam Speaker.
Honorable Member for Lunte, what are you talking about?
The point of order raised by the Honorable MP for Luena is saying at the beginning of this session, it was last month. Today is a meeting. It's a meeting.
Order, Honorable Member for Lunte.
Madam Speaker.
Honorable Member for Lunte, please take your seat. Please take your seat. The Honorable Member for Lunte, you are not the presiding officer. If you saw a mistake, I'm sure you should have found another way of bringing it up instead of embarrassing the whole House. That is not allowed. That is not allowed, Honorable Member. Can we please behave or act as honorable members? We are all honorable members in this House. There is no one who is superior than the other. All honorable members are the same. Let's respect each other. Let's not be angry with each other. We are here to represent the people who are not here. We have to represent the people in a better manner. Can you go straight to your question?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, this is an interesting meeting which started at 14:30 today. Honorable Minister, since your government is taking measures to encourage people to have robust homegrown solutions, is there a document which has been developed by your government from where people can get information in respect of what those strategies may be and when you intend for them, to become effective? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Technology and Science.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you for that good question. We have so far got two documents. One is called the Digital Transformation Strategy, which you could share copies with you. And the second one is called the ICT Policy, again, which you could share copies with you, that define the path that we shall take going forward. I thank you.
The Honorable Member for Pambashi.
Madam Speaker, it's not a question, it's a point of order, which I have been indicating according to Standing Order 203. Madam Speaker, as the other MP stated at the beginning of this meeting, after you suspended business, I was quite seated here with a lot of your dignified members of Parliament. The MP for Zambezi East walked from there and stood here and he said, and used the unparliamentary language that was disturbing to me and to a lot of members of Parliament who've been in this House for long, to be referred to as rumpens. He's a young MP, he came and he found me in the chamber, and I have a lot of respect for people like Honorable Gary Nkombo, Jack Mwimbo, Honorable Stumbeko Msokotwane, and the rest, because I found them in the chamber. And no matter how, I cannot brand everybody in the manner the honorable member for Zambezi East did. Very provocative, but we managed to control. He stood there and said, oh, these room pens were sitting on this side. Madam Speaker, I seek your serious guidance. Why should the Member of Parliament for Zambezi East should not be disciplined for referring to your honorable dignified members of Parliament as room pens? I seek your serious ruling, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. I will equally reserve that point of order. I'll come back with a ruling at a later time. The Honorable Member for Shiwangandu.
Most appreciated, Madam Speaker, that the follow-up question and the point of order. So I don't know which one I should
It's a question, Honorable Member for Shiwangandu. It's a question.
Madam, let me pose my question, then I'll come back to my point of order. Honorable Minister, we appreciate that that shutdown was obviously global, and it did affect many other nations. But we would like to know what your government is doing to prepare institutions, be it in government, banks, on how they should handle or measures they are putting in place to lessen the negative impact such disruptions can have on various businesses, such as you have said. What measures are you putting, and how much would you be able to invest in those measures? Because there is a possibility that it can, that disruption can recur. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Technology and Science.
Madam Speaker, again, thank you for that important question. There are a number of measures that we have put in place, broadly referred to as backup. So we have said to most businesses to use the ones that are operating various digital infrastructures such as data centers locally. And those data centers have capability for backup. Even in the event that there's shutdown, they can be able to recreate the data locally. I thank you.
Thank you. Honorable members, I'm now not going to take any more points of order. We are behind time. Let's move to the next question. The Honorable Member for Chikankata.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving the good people of Chikankata an opportunity to ask a question. Question 313.
The Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Madam, thank you very much for the opportunity to answer a question from the Honorable MP for Chikankata, Ms. Jacqueline Sabao, who is asking the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development at A, why the construction of Chief Tenes Mwenda's Palace in Chikankata district has stalled. And at B, she wants to know when the project will resume. And at C, she also wants to know the estimated cost of this project. Our response, Madam, but maybe on a light moment, Madam Speaker, tagging from the point of order of Honorable Chitotela, I thought of giving a clear definition of what a lumpen is. And a lumpen, the last time I checked, is a person who's not clever and well educated and who's not interested in improving or changing their situation.
The Honorable Minister, I think there was no need of defining that word. There was no need of defining that word, Honorable Minister. I think that point of order was already ruled. Can the Honorable Minister of Local Government please withdraw?
Madam, I withdraw the light moment, as I indicated on. This House deserves to laugh sometimes. I withdraw it unreservedly the comment I made about the lumpen. Our response is to say that the construction of the Chieftainess Mwenda's Palace in Chikankata constituency and district has stalled due to funding constraints. At B, the project will definitely resume immediately when the contract is awarded to the selected bidder. Currently, the government is undertaking procurement procedures for the contract. And at C, the cost will only be determined after the negotiations with the selected bidder is done. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Supplementary questions? The Honorable Member for Namwala.
Thank you so very much, Madam Speaker. Through you to the Minister. Minister, may I know who was the contractor before you ran out of cash? Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Madam, well, that is a very important question. I must make a confession that that information I can only extract it from the office, and it's not part of the supplementary information that I have. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Chikankata.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, considering that there's a provision under the CDF where we are told that we are supposed to construct the palace for the chiefs, and in Chikankata we had to choose the other chiefdom, Chief Nalwama, because they didn't have a palace. But the challenge we have as the people there is that we have a contract which has stalled, and this has put the people of Chikankata in an awkward position, looking at that the other palace has stalled, meanwhile we've said another one. So what's the advice from the Minister of Local Government?
The Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Madam Speaker, let me thank the Honorable Member of Parliament for Chikankata for that very important question. Honorable Member, I need you to be reminded that the Palace for Chieftainess Mwenda, the construction of the palace commenced in the other administration. There were 14 palaces that we found incomplete, and we began a whole new program of completing these palaces. Like I said in my maiden answer, this palace is on the cards. It is one of the palaces that we wish to complete among the 14 that were not completed by the other administration.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Shiwangandu.
Madam Speaker, it's a point of order pursuant to Standing Order 205. The one Yosha wanted to raise. Madam Speaker, the point of order I'm trying to raise is very
Order, Honorable Member. I had ruled that there are no more points of order. I had ruled. So I'll go against my ruling if I admit that point of order.
Madam Speaker, with your indulgence, I'll reserve it for tomorrow because it's quite compelling.
Thank you. Next question. The Honorable Member for Chadiza. Were there any prior arrangements? The clerk? Were there prior arrangements? You just pardon? Pardon? Okay. I'm told some arrangements were made. The Honorable Member for Chama South.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question number 314.
The Honorable Minister of Mines and Minerals Development.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. The Honorable MP, Mr. J. Daka, to ask the Minister of Mines whether the government is aware that illegal gold mining activities in Kumba Ward in Chadiza Parliamentary constituency for the past 1 month has led to lawlessness in the area, and if so, what measures are being taken to ensure legal mining and restoration of law and order in the area? The response is as follows. Government is aware of the ongoing illegal mining activities taking place in Kumba Ward in Chadiza Parliamentary constituency. B, the measures being taken to ensure legal mining and retain of law and order in the area include undertaking the following. 1, monitoring of mining activities through regular compliance visits to ensure adherence to the provisions of the Mines and Minerals Act, which among others prohibits illegal mining activities. Number 2, formalization of informal mining activities. The ministry is undertaking the formalization of illegal mining activities across the country, including Kumba Ward in Chadiza district, to ensure that the people participate in mining of minerals through established systems. This entails sensitizing the local communities to form cooperatives to be licensed. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member for Chama South.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, Kumba Ward in Chadiza is bordering Vobwe as well as Chipata Central. And from the look of things, Madam Speaker, this country is endowed with this precious metal almost in all the parts of Eastern Province. What is it that you are putting in place as government to ensure that illegal mining, because it's not only in Kumba Ward, it's the entire Eastern Province, illegal mining is not affecting government revenue as well as the benefits that are supposed to accrue to the people of Chadiza? Because as we speak, this illegal activity is an ongoing activity, not only in Kumba Ward, but in entire Eastern Province. What measures have you put in place, not what is supposed to be done, so that as government, we should be able to benefit from this resource? I submit, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Mines and Minerals Development.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Honorable Member, for that question. If you followed my answer, we are not actually saying what we are supposed to do. We are already doing it. And we are actually starting with a launch in Central Province. Then we are going to go to Eastern Province. It's earmarked. Cooperatives have been formed. We have issued 200+ licenses to cooperatives across the country. We've procured gold detectors for them, and we are procuring gold marketing centers. So basically, the solution to this, Madam Speaker, is what we are doing to formalize, so that our people can do legal mining and they can have access to financing. They can also have access to market. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Chipiri.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Although part of the question has been answered, but I wanted the Minister to clarify more. How long is it going to take your ministry to continue inspecting, so that the solution is found and those people could get benefits? For how long are you going to take as a ministry, so that people are aware that solution should be found? Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Mines and Minerals Development.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Honorable Member. In terms of timing, I would say that mining is a continuous activity. So we'll continuously be doing what we are doing. The solution, Honorable Member, is really what we are doing to formalize, to allow people to mine, but mine in a formal, legal way. And in terms of timing, it's a continuous thing because minerals will continue being discovered. And as additional information, I'll tell you that this year, Zambia is procuring a company that is going to fly over the country and map the whole country this year. We were just waiting for the rains to subside, Madam Speaker, and begin to do that. So there will be more discoveries, meaning that we will not really give a time frame as to when we'll finish mining until the mining, the minerals are done. So in terms of stopping illegal mining, it's just to formalize people that are involved. You don't use a stick, but you dangle a carrot to them. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Mr. Kawembe. Next question. The Honorable Member for Kalabo Central.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question number 315.
The Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Thank you very much once again, Madam Speaker. Mr. Miutu, the Honorable MP for Kalabo Central constituency, is asking the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development at A, when the government will commence the rehabilitation of feeder roads in Kalabo district. At B, what the cause of the delay in commencing the works is. And at C, when the works will be completed. Our response. Madam Speaker, government will commence the rehabilitation of feeder roads in Kalabo district when funds are available. The government is currently financially constrained and is managing a huge debt burden under the road sector. Therefore, local authorities are encouraged to rehabilitate feeder roads using the locally generated funds in the short and medium term. Further, constituencies have been encouraged by this minister here at several occasions to leverage on the increased constituency development fund, which constituency development fund has been increased by size and by extent in order to prioritize the works on feeder roads in the respective districts. This can be achieved if we take a leaf of what many constituencies have done in buying equipment, such as Mufulira. Mufulira district, comprising Kankoyo, Kantanshi, and Mufulira Central, Madam Speaker, have done a spectacular job by putting the Constituency Development Fund together and procure equipment that will help them to answer to this call of the feeder roads. As I said at A, Madam Speaker, the cause of the delay is lack of funds, and at C, the completion date will only be determined when works commence after funds are made available. Thank you.
Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member for Wasenshi.
Madam Speaker, thank you so much, and Honorable Minister, thank you for the responses. I would like to find out from your ministry, Honorable Minister, if you can able to share with the members of Parliament, like the roads that have been approved, such as Karabo, so that we can able maybe to lessen the burden of asking questions, which maybe you can able to answer as a whole. I submit, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Madam Speaker, I'm at sea. I'm totally at sea because I did not mention about any approval of any road anywhere. What I said was that these roads were discontinued as a result of the debt burden in the road sector. That's what I said. So the issue really has put me at sea, unless I didn't hear the honorable colleague's question clearly. Maybe you can repeat it.
The honorable member for Ruvasenche, are you repeating the question?
Thank you. Honorable Minister, my question is, people of Karabo, by the way, they're asking when your ministry is going to do the roads. And the same issue is affecting even my constituency and other constituencies. And the ministry, last year, 2023, asked the district to submit critical roads in respective districts. My question now is that, are you able to avail the roads that have been approved in Karabo and other constituencies or districts so that we can able to avoid repeating some questions? I submit, Madam.
The Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Madam, to use the honorable member's own words, I cannot able to give any approved roads at this particular juncture because most of the works under this sector are basically on ice. Suffice to mention, however, that we are attending to crossing points, and I've said that many times to make sure that the roads are communicable and motorable. At this juncture, Madam Speaker, there has not been a single approval of any road. The critical roads that may be worked on in this year's budget are only 13, and these have been carried over from works from the past because they've been identified as those that are in the west shape. But the guiding factor is the issue of insufficient funds in the Treasury. Thank you.
Thank you. By prior arrangement, I'm going to allow question 318 so that the minister will be able to respond. He's got an assignment. Next question. The honorable member for Ruvasenche.
Madam Speaker, the people of Ruvasenche are privileged to ask a question 318.
The Honorable Minister of Transport and Logistics.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Mr. Chair, to ask the Minister of Transport and Logistics a 5-part question. A, how many goods and passenger trains Zambia Railways Limited procured between 2011 and 2021? B, what the cost of each was. C, how much money was generated from the operation of the trains during the period above. D, how many employees were recruited during the same period? E, Madam Speaker, whether the government has any plans to procure 1, additional trains, and 2, electric trains, and finally, if so, when the plans will be implemented. In response to the question raised by the Honourable Member of Parliament for Ruvasenche Parliamentary constituency, I wish to inform this August House as follows. A, Zambia Railways Limited did not procure any locomotives or wagons for the period for the carriage of cargo between 2011 and 2021. However, 27 refurbished passenger carriages were procured during the same period. B, the cost of each passenger carriage was $629,629.65. C, between 2011 and 2021, passenger and cargo revenue stood at 2.3 billion kwacha. Cargo revenues accounted for 2.2 billion, while passenger revenue stood at 1 million kwacha. D, during the period under review, 1,265 direct jobs were created and over 500 indirect jobs through cooperatives that were formed to undertake maintenance works on the line of rail. E, the government has plans to procure additional trains, including electric trains. F, The plans will be implemented once government concludes engagements with strategic partners to finance the recapitalization of Zambia Railways Limited. With reference to the procurement of electric trains, Madam Speaker, government will procure this option once Zambia Railways rehabilitates the railway line to attain average train speeds of between 80 and 100 kilometers per hour. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Supplementary questions. The Honourable Member for Lubasenchi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity to ask a follow-up question. Honourable Minister, you agree with me that rail transport is very important in Zambia and that provided job opportunities to a good number of Zambians. And you also mentioned that between 2011 and 2021, the Zambian government never bought any locomotive, but they did the refurbishment. Now, Honourable Minister, I would like to find out, on behalf of the people of Rubansenshi, that the roads are being damaged because of heavy roads that are being carried. Do you consider this time around that you can able to do more and improve the rail sector so that it can able to create more jobs by procuring more locomotive? I submit.
The Honourable Minister of Transport and Logistics.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I couldn't agree more with the Honourable Member's assertion about the importance of rail transport to this country, both in terms of movement of passengers, but also affordability of that particular movement. And suffice to state, Madam Speaker, that this administration is actively looking at ways in which we can find, equity partnership that can come in and recapitalize this, subsector, which obviously, as the Honourable Member will appreciate, has seen its better days, considering that it's well over 115 years old. And so the government is, obviously looking at all available options to, as quickly as possible, bring back the rail subsector to play its meaningful role in our economic developmental agenda, unlike the period that the Honourable Member refers to, 2011 to 2021, where the sector saw absolutely no investment whatsoever. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
The Honourable Member for Lubasenchi.
Madam Speaker, I would like to ask a question over the same matter. I would like to find out. You talked about time frame that the government is considering to look for equity partner so that we can able to have these electrical trains by making sure that all the feasibility studies are done and everything. Are you able now to share with the same time frame when the government is intending to implement that? Is it this year, 2024? Is it 2025? Because by now you have a strategic plan, Honourable Minister. I submit.
The Honourable Minister of Transport and Logistics.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The old English adage says that more haste, less speed. We must focus on, first of all, like I said, refurbishing the track. We are not able to talk about electric trains in the current state that the track is in. We have to reconstruct the tracks in order for it to be able to support electric trains, which obviously would mean that they would move at speeds in excess of 80 kilometers per hour to about 120 kilometers per hour. So we'll take one day at a time. Madam Speaker, thank you.
Thank you. The Honourable Member for Kankoyo.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, during the same period, a Eurobond gotten at a high interest rate, 9%, was invested. Professor Clive Chirwa recruited to come and revamp the rail sector. $250 million was invested in this, in the Zambia Railways. Honorable Minister, where did this money go? I thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Transport and Logistics, if you are able to answer it.
Madam Speaker, obviously the money did little or nothing to revamp the rail subsector. Perhaps they may have refurbished an office or two, but nothing to improve the operations of Zambia Railways Limited. And Madam Speaker, just to add that the amounts of monies that we're talking about in order to bring Zambia Railways Limited to the sort of standards where, the rail company can make significant economic contribution is really colossal, and it's nothing near what the member refers to as $250 million. It will definitely be well over $600 million in order for us to record some significant improvement. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. Next question, the Honorable Member for Kaposhe.
Madam Speaker, many thanks. Question number 316.
The Honorable Minister of Energy.
Mr. Lungu, Member of Parliament for Kapoche Parliamentary Constituency, is asking the Minister of Energy two questions. A, when the government will electrify the following schools in Kapoche Parliamentary Constituency? 1. Kondwelani Primary, Chikalaba Primary and Junior Secondary, Chitaika Primary, Chimpundu Primary, Matambazi Primary, Mutema Primary, Mchembwe Primary, Kapungwe Day Secondary, Mutandaza Secondary. B, if so, when the plans will be implemented? Madam Speaker, the answer to these questions are: A, the following facilities, Kondwelani Primary, Chikalaba Primary and Junior Secondary, Chitaika Primary, Chimpundu Primary, Matanbazi Primary, Mutema Primary, Mchembwe Primary, Kapungwe Day Secondary School, Mutandaza Secondary. According to the Rural Education Master Plan, the above mentioned areas were initially scheduled for electrification in 2009 and 2010. However, due to the unavailability of funds, the facilities were not electrified. Answer to question B, the project will be implemented when funds are available. Madam Speaker, allow me to give some additional information just for clarity. In October 2021, the Rural Education Authority undertook feasibility studies for the schools scheduled for electrification in Kapoche in order to establish the scope of works and cost of electrification of the schools, and were included in the RIA database. The project, costing 197 million kwacha, will be implemented in 7 phases, with the actual implementation of the first phase to commence when funds are available. RIA is currently planning to undertake electrical cooperative models that will ring-fence both on-grid and off-grid communities. RIA will facilitate the formation of these electrical cooperatives that will profitably run the networks for their own benefits. The cooperatives in the communities will elect a board which will appoint a management team to operate the business. These models have worked in countries such as Nigeria, Uganda, and Liberia. I submit.
Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member for Kantanshi.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Whilst you providing us a response from your ministry. Something came through my mind. As you can see, these are primary schools and one secondary school. If it was a boarding school, we might have been worried that maybe the consumption of power runs 24 hours. But these are schools that can easily benefit from solar energy, which your ministry is promoting. Now, this staggering figure of 197 million, I have difficulties in appreciating it, considering that the consumption of power for these primary schools might not require this level of investment. Is there a way maybe your ministry can relook at this? And in fact, most of these schools around the country, why can't we just invest in solar? Because the amount of time that is spent on these schools is just about 8 to 10 hours. And then, during the night, there's really no activity. I want to hear it from you, if there are any such plans that you can consider in the future. Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Energy.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I've already indicated that these schools were scheduled to be electrified between 2009 and 2010. And later on in 2021, RIA undertook another feasibility studies to see the scope, whether the scope was had changed or increased. Because the initial plan, which is currently, was that these were to be connected to the national grid. Honorable has indicated that why don't we look at other alternatives, considering that the amounts that has been indicated is quite astronomical. Yes, Honorable, for Kantanshi. That is why, if you paid attention to my last statement, we are encouraging cooperatives to be set up in these areas, whereby these cooperatives will be able to run and install these off-grid mini grids that can provide electrification to these areas. I submit.
The Honorable Member for Kapoche.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, the Minister, for your well-elaborate statement. We understand, and the people of Kapoche would like to find out that in 2009-2010, you did a feasibility study, then 2021. People of Kapoche, they are aware that CDF for 2022, through RIA, it was deducted. And now, they are busy asking, each time when I go to the constituents, looking at these areas which are mentioned, that where is our money since it was deducted? And they would like to know when exactly their money or their funds which were deducted through CDF, it will be implemented. I submit, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Energy.
Madam Speaker, the amounts that were deducted, which is 1 million per constituency, will be used in individual constituencies. It is only for 1 million kwacha. Now, we are talking about 197 million kwacha. And this project was supposed to be implemented in 7 phases, so that, maybe each year, one portion can be handled until another portion, depending on the funding. However, we are encouraging, Honorable, to come to RIA so that we can look at possibilities and ways of how we can set up a cooperative so that, these areas can be electrified at one go. I submit.
Thank you. Next question. The Honorable Member for Magoye.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Question number 317.
The Honorable Minister of Fisheries and Livestock.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. The Honorable Member
Mr. Malambo is asking the ministry a question in 4 parts. In A, whether the government has any plan to construct veterinary clinics in Magoye parliamentary constituents. In B, if so, how many clinics are earmarked for construction? In C, what the estimated cost of the project is? And in D, if there are no such plans, why? Madam Speaker, our response is as follows. In A, the House may wish to note that government has no immediate plans to construct veterinary clinics in Magoye parliamentary constituents. Further, the House may wish to note that, by definition, a veterinary clinic is a standalone structure where clinical veterinary services are provided under the supervision of a registered veterinary surgeon. Arising from the answer in A above, B and C fall off. D, why? Currently, government policy is to provide advisory services to livestock farmers and general public. These services are offered through the district veterinary officer and veterinary camp officers who reside within the communities. The government, therefore, continues to create an enabling environment that encourages private sector participation in the provision of clinical veterinary services. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Supplementary questions? The Honourable Member for Magoye.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker and Honourable Minister. I really appreciate your question. But however, I want to find out from you, taking in mind that Southern Province has been badly hit by the climatic change, and that being the case, Honourable Minister, many of the farmers are going to purely depend on livestock. If the livestock are not protected, I can assure you, Honourable Minister, that most of our people are going to die of hunger. And that's the only investment that I believe can aid our people to have food on their table. The only way we can be able to do it is to facilitate, to create an enabling environment that our farmers will produce more livestock. Therefore, my question is, in as much as you have directed to say private sector should come in.
Order, Honourable Member. As the time is 16:40 hours, I suspend business for 20 minutes.
Business has been suspended and the House is considering question 317 on the order paper, and this question came from Magoye Member of Parliament, Mr. Malambo, directing the question to the Minister of Fisheries and Livestock, and at the time business was suspended. The member was asking a follow-up question seeking clarity from the Minister of Fisheries and Livestock. When business resumes, the member will continue asking or seeking clarity from the Minister.
And so far the House has considered one question for oral answer, understanding order number 76, and 5 questions for oral answer, understanding order number 74. When business started, Madam Speaker did make a ruling on the complaint by Mr. Siandeleti, Member of Parliament for Katumbora constituency, against Mr. J.E. Banda, Member of Parliament for Putauki Central constituency, for stating that he was suspended from the National Assembly so that the standing orders could be changed and money could be stolen, in a video footage that had been widely circulated on social media and other media platforms.
We'll be able to share with you some of the details regarding that ruling that Madam Speaker made earlier in the day. Still to come, Claudette, we do still have a motion that will be moved by Chama South Member of Parliament, Mr. Davison Mungandu. Thanks His Excellency the President's address, that the thanks of this Assembly be